My brother begged his family for $112,000 for a cruise with his family, lying to all of us that he was moving to a new house. I never thought I'd be writing one of these posts, but here I am at 2 a.m., staring at my phone and trying to make sense of what's happening. It started 3 weeks ago when my cousin Lowell called, asking for help moving into their new place. Nothing unusual there, we're pretty close, and I've helped him move twice before. But this time, something just felt off. Let me back up a bit. Lowell and I grew up together, practically brothers. He's 2 years younger than me, and we've always had each other's backs. When my mom was sick last year, he drove 4 hours every weekend to help me take care of her. So when he called about moving, saying, "Gareth, I really need your help on this one," I didn't think twice. At first, everything seemed normal. He and his wife, Sabine, bought a house in Maplewood, about an hour from the city, great school district for their daughter, Coraline, bigger yard, all that stuff. They asked if I could take a few days off to help them move at the end of the month. No problem. I had some vacation days saved up, and that's what family's for, right? But then things started getting weird. Small things at first, like Lowell being weirdly vague about the exact moving dates. "We're still finalizing some details," he'd say. Or, "Sabine is handling the scheduling." Every time I tried to nail down specifics, he'd change the subject or say he'd get back to me. I didn't think much of it until my girlfriend, Leona, pointed something out during our weekly family video call. Sabine was showing off their current house, talking about all the packing they needed to do, but Leona noticed shopping bags from luxury stores in the background, a lot of them. When I mentioned it later, Leona said, "Isn't it weird they're buying expensive stuff right before a move?" That got me paying attention. Little things started adding up. Sabine's Instagram showed them at fancy restaurants 3 times last week. Lowell bought a brand new gaming system for the new house. They even got Coraline a massive dollhouse that would be a nightmare to move. None of this matched their usual complaints about moving expenses and needing to budget carefully. Then came the weird requests. They asked if I could help coordinate with other family members to pack their place while they handled some paperwork for the new house. They needed specific days blocked off, but wouldn't say why. Lowell even asked if I could supervise the moving truck loading because he might have to be at the new place. Then, my brother Orson called me, confused. "Did Lowell ask you for money for the movers?" "He just hit me up for $2,000, said something about a deposit." That's when alarm bells really started ringing. Lowell hadn't mentioned anything about needing money to me. In fact, just last week, he had been bragging about getting a great deal on movers. I decided to do some digging. Nothing crazy, just checking their public social media. Sabine had been posting cryptic countdowns on her Instagram stories. 18 more days, with luxury shopping bags in the background. Can't wait. 2 more weeks, with a new designer purse. Lowell's usually active Facebook had been quiet, except for some vague posts about exciting changes ahead. But the weirdest part? They had been telling different family members different dates and details. My aunt was told they were moving on the 15th. I was told the 20th. Orson was told the 25th. I tried calling Lowell directly to ask about the inconsistencies, but he gave me this long, over-rehearsed explanation about closing dates changing and utility complications. Maybe I'm paranoid, but it felt scripted. Everything came to a head about an hour ago. I couldn't sleep, so I was scrolling through Instagram when I saw something that made my stomach drop. Sabine didn't realize I could see her close friend's story. She had added me months ago and probably forgot. It was a picture of a cruise ship itinerary for the exact date they were supposed to be moving. The post was quickly deleted, but I screenshotted it. The caption read, "Can't believe we pulled it off. Time for some much-needed luxury." Right after, my phone buzzed. Another text from Lowell. "Hey man, just wanted to confirm you're all set for helping with the move. We really appreciate it. You're the best cousin anyone could ask for." I'm staring at the cruise itinerary screenshot. And this text. Feeling like an idiot. Part of me wants to call him out right now. But the strategic part of my brain says, wait. See how far they're planning to take this. They don't know that I know. Leona thinks I should confront them immediately. But I have a different idea. If they want to play this game, maybe it's time to get creative. I've already texted Orson the screenshot, and he's as furious as I am. I need to think this through carefully. They've clearly put effort into planning this, whatever this is. The question is, what's my next move? My heart breaks for Coraline. She's only 6, and last week, she excitedly told me about how she can't wait to have me help set up her new room. She has no idea what her parents are up to. I should probably get some sleep. But my mind is racing with questions. How many other family members have they manipulated? How long have they been planning this? And most importantly, what should I do next? I have a plan forming. But I want to make sure I'm not overreacting. Has anyone dealt with something similar? What would you do in my situation? Update 1. First, thank you all for the supportive comments on my last post. A lot has happened in the past 24 hours, and I need to get this off my chest. You were all right, this goes way deeper than just the cruise. After my post last night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what several of you mentioned, checking their past behavior patterns. So I started putting together a timeline of the last few years. And that's when things got really interesting. Remember how I mentioned Lowell and Sabine always seemed to need help with something? Well, I started making a list. Over the past 2 years, they've borrowed money from family members at least 7 times, always with a believable excuse. Car repairs. Medical bills for Coraline. House maintenance emergencies. The thing is, they never paid any of it back. They'd always have some new crisis come up right when they were supposed to repay someone. I called my brother Orson this morning, and we compared notes. Turns out, they'd been playing us against each other. They told him they needed the $2,000 for moving expenses because I couldn't help out this time. Meanwhile, they told me they had the moving costs covered, but needed help with the actual move because Orson was too busy. But here's where it gets really interesting. Leona suggested checking Sabine's Pinterest boards. Apparently, she's not great with privacy settings. There were 2 boards. One public, filled with budget moving tips and DIY packing hacks. One private, but not private enough, titled Anniversary Cruise 2025. The cruise board was created 3 months ago, right around the time they started telling everyone they were house hunting. I reached out to my Aunt Marianne, who had mentioned lending them money for Coraline's dental work last month. She sent me a screenshot of her conversation with Sabine. The same week they got that money, Lowell posted, and quickly deleted, a photo of a brand new gaming setup that had to cost at least twice what they borrowed. The more I dug, the more I found. They'd been methodically working through the family, always with perfectly crafted sob stories. Last Christmas, they couldn't afford gifts because of unexpected expenses. That same weekend? Sabine's Instagram showed them at a ski resort. 3 months ago, they borrowed money from my uncle for urgent home repairs. The next week? Sabine posted about getting a spa weekend as self-care. I made the mistake of checking my own bank statements. Over the past year, I've helped them out with almost $3,500, in small amounts, always with promises to pay back when things settle down. They never did. The worst part? I found messages in our family group chat from 6 months ago, where Sabine was consoling my cousin Lillian about not being able to afford a holiday for her kids. Sabine wrote this long, heartfelt message about living within your means and finding joy in the simple things. While she was literally planning this cruise. That's when I decided to do some real detective work. Called the moving company they had mentioned to other family members. Guess what? No booking under their name. Called their current landlord. They hadn't given notice about moving out. Checked the house in Maplewood. No record of a sale. My hands were shaking when I realized what they'd done. They'd told different family members 3 different moving dates, asking each person for help with various expenses. By my calculation, they had collected almost $112,000 from family members for this move. I was about to call Lowell directly when I got another Instagram notification. Sabine had posted another close friend's story, not realizing I could still see it. It was a screenshot of their cruise booking confirmation. They didn't just book a regular cabin. They got a suite with a private balcony. The cost? Almost exactly what they'd collected from family. Then my phone buzzed with a message from Lowell. Hey man, Sabine's wondering if you could actually help us pack this weekend instead of next week. We'll need some extra hands since Orson backed out last minute. I didn't respond. Instead, I started making calls. Turns out, they told Orson they were moving next weekend. Told my Aunt Marianne it was the weekend after. Told my cousins it was at the end of the month. They had orchestrated this whole thing to get maximum help from everyone. The most revealing conversation was with Leona's sister, who works at a travel agency. Not the one they booked through, but she looked up average prices for their cruise dates. Apparently, there was a special anniversary package being offered for those exact dates. Couple spa treatments. Private dining experiences. Exclusive shore excursions. The total cost? Almost exactly $112,000. I've gathered all the evidence, screenshots, messages, bank transfers. Created a shared document with Orson and started adding everything we found. The pattern is clear. They've been systematically manipulating the entire family, playing on our sympathy and willingness to help. Just now, Sabine posted a public status. So grateful for our amazing family. Can't wait for this new chapter of our lives to begin. The cruise leaves in exactly 3 weeks. They don't know that we know. They don't know that I found everything. They don't know that their carefully constructed house of lies is about to come crashing down. I've already spoken with Orson, and we're meeting tomorrow to finalize our plan. We've thought about confronting them immediately. But I think we can do better than that. Why spoil their cruise plans? When we can make sure they get exactly what they deserve? And Coraline. She's still talking about her new room. She asked me yesterday if I'd help her put up her posters. That's the part that kills me. They're not just scamming us. They're involving their own daughter in this web of lies. I'll update once our plan is in motion. Let's just say. Their moving day is going to be very interesting indeed. Update 2. First, thank you, everyone, for your suggestions and support. The past week has been intense. And what happened yesterday? Well, let me start from the beginning. After my last post, Orson and I put our plan into action. We started by creating a group chat with all the family members they'd scammed, sharing the evidence we had gathered. The reactions were a mix of shock, anger, and, honestly, embarrassment. My Aunt Marianne kept saying, I knew something felt off about the dental emergency. We decided not to confront them immediately. Instead, we played along. Everyone maintained their commitments to help with the move. Lowell and Sabine had no idea that we were all comparing notes and coordinating behind the scenes. Then, the really interesting part started 3 days ago. Sabine posted a series of photos of them packing, perfectly staged shots of labeled boxes and organized closets. What they didn't realize was that Leona's mom lives in their apartment complex. And she could see that their actual apartment? No signs of packing. No boxes. No moving supplies. Nothing. Then came the text that set everything in motion. Lowell messaged the family group chat. Getting the keys to the new place tomorrow. Can't wait to show everyone our new home. He even shared an address in Maplewood. Orson and I drove by. It was a house for sale, but definitely not sold to them. We checked with the realtor. Yesterday morning, Sabine sent a mass text about their final packing day and how grateful they were for everyone's help. That's when we launched our plan. I texted back. Hey, since you'll be busy with the movers, why don't I meet you directly at the new house? I can help coordinate everyone there. They agreed quickly, probably thinking it would help maintain their separate stories with different family members. What they didn't know. We had rented a small conference room at the local community center. We told them it was the address of their new house. Orson and I arrived early to set up. We had a projector ready with screenshots of their cruise booking. Their contradicting texts to different family members about moving dates. A detailed spreadsheet of all the money they had taken. At 2 p.m., they pulled up in their car. I watched through the window as they got out, looking confused at the building. Lowell checked his phone, probably thinking they had the wrong address. Then they saw me waving from the door. Gareth, what's going on? This isn't the house, Lowell said as they walked up. I just replied, no, but we need to talk. And led them inside. The look on their faces when they walked into that room. I'll never forget it. Every single family member they had scammed was there, sitting quietly. Aunt Marianne. Uncle Frank. Our cousins Lillian and Jonah. Even Leona's mom, who had been watching their apartment. 15 people in total. Sabine tried to turn around immediately, but Orson was blocking the door. Not physically restraining them, just standing there. Lowell started with his usual script. There's been a misunderstanding. That's when I clicked to the first slide. Their cruise booking confirmation. Sabine's face went white. Next slide. They're contradicting texts to different family members about moving dates. Then the spreadsheet. $112,000. That's how much you've taken from the people in this room, I said quietly. Not counting emotional labor, time off work, and the moving help you scheduled. What followed was 2 hours of the most intense family meeting I've ever experienced. Every person had their say. Lillian talked about canceling her kid's summer camp to lend them money. Uncle Frank mentioned postponing his knee surgery to help them with their supposed medical bills. But here's the thing that really got to me. Their reactions. Sabine started crying, but they weren't genuine tears. She kept trying to turn it around, saying things like, "We just wanted to celebrate our anniversary. Everyone deserves a vacation." Lowell alternated between defensive anger and attempts to minimize what they had done. But the real twist came when Aunt Marianne asked, "Where is Coraline right now? Does she know you're not really moving?" That's when Sabine slipped up. "She's with my mother. We were going to tell her we had to delay the move because of complications." The room went silent. They had been planning to lie to their own daughter rather than admit the truth. That's when Lowell finally broke. He sat down hard in his chair and just said, "We really messed up, didn't we? We had already prepared a repayment agreement. Monthly payments. No interest. Firm deadlines. They signed it. They didn't have much choice, with all the evidence we had. We also had conditions about family events and transparency going forward. But here's where it gets interesting." As they were leaving, Lowell turned back and said something that's been bothering me all night. "You don't understand, this isn't just about the cruise. There's more you don't know." I watched them drive away, and I can't shake the feeling that we've only scratched the surface. This morning, Sabine's mother called me, frantic. Because they never picked up Coraline last night. Their phones are going straight to voicemail. Orson is trying to trace their bank activity. Leona is looking through Sabine's social media for clues. Something bigger is going on. And now I'm worried that by confronting them about the cruise, we've pushed them into something desperate. I just got a text from an unknown number. "You should have left it alone. Now everyone loses." I'm heading to their apartment now. I'll update when I know more. Final update. I've been putting off writing this final update because, even now, it's hard to process everything that happened. After that confrontation at the community center, things spiraled in ways none of us expected. Remember that text from the unknown number? "You should have left it alone. Now everyone loses." Turns out, Lowell and Sabine were in deeper than any of us knew. While we were focused on the $112,000 they had scammed from family, we had no idea about the other $50,000 in credit card debt they had racked up. Or the second mortgage they had somehow taken out on their apartment, without Sabine's mother, who co-signed, knowing about it. That night, when they disappeared, they weren't running away. They were meeting with someone they owed money to. Not the kind of people you want to owe money to. Leona found their rushed Google searches from that night. Emergency cash loans. Quick money, no credit check. Leave country without passport. The next morning, I got a call from Sabine's mother. She had found something in their apartment that changed everything. Documents. Showing that Lowell had been stealing from his company for months, using the money to pay off gambling debts. The cruise wasn't just a vacation. It was an escape plan. They were going to disappear after it, leaving everyone else to deal with the fallout. Orson and I had a choice to make. We could let them run. Or we could end this once and for all. We chose the latter. Step 1, we contacted Lowell's company with our evidence. They had already noticed discrepancies but hadn't traced them yet. Within hours, their internal audit team was involved. Lowell's access was immediately cut off. Step 2, we worked with Sabine's mother to contact the bank about the fraudulent second mortgage. She had documentation proving forgery of her signatures. The bank launched an investigation. Step 3, we found their other victims. Turns out, our family wasn't the only one they had scammed. Through social media and mutual connections, we discovered 3 other groups of people they had taken advantage of. Sabine's church group. Lowell's old college friends. A parents group from Coraline's school. We created a shared digital document where everyone could record what they were owed. Upload evidence. The total came to almost $85,000. Someone in the group was a legal aid who helped us file a civil suit. But here's where karma really kicked in. Sabine's mother got full custody of Coraline. Not because we pushed for it, but because Lowell and Sabine literally gave it to her. When confronted with the evidence of their crimes and facing possible criminal charges, they signed over custody rights in exchange for Sabine's mother not pressing charges over the forged mortgage documents. They never made it on that cruise. Instead, they're both working multiple jobs, trying to pay back their debts. Lowell's company pressed charges. He's doing community service and paying restitution. Sabine's perfect social media life? Gone. She had to sell all those designer bags and clothes to pay back the money they had stolen. Last week, I saw them at the grocery store. They were arguing over generic versus name-brand cereal. Sabine was wearing clothes from a discount store instead of her usual designer outfits. Lowell's flashy watch was gone. They looked tired. Older. Defeated. When they saw me, they quickly turned around and left, leaving their half-filled cart in the aisle. Coraline is thriving with her grandmother. She's in therapy, dealing with the abandonment, but she's resilient. She still asks about her parents sometimes. But less and less frequently. Sabine's mother makes sure she has everything she needs, including stability, honesty. Things her parents never provided. Our family has healed too. That shared experience of being deceived somehow brought us closer. We have monthly dinners now. Something we never did before. There's a new level of trust and openness between us. When someone needs help, they ask directly, and we all pitch in what we can. Yesterday, I got a letter from Sabine. I haven't opened it yet. It's sitting on my desk, and sometimes I catch myself staring at it. Part of me wants to know what she has to say. But another part thinks, some doors should stay closed. Final thoughts. Karma has a way of working things out. They wanted a luxury cruise and a fresh start. Well, they got their fresh start. Just not the one they planned. Instead of a balcony suite, they're living in a 1-bedroom apartment above a laundromat. Instead of fine dining, they're clipping coupons. Instead of running away from their problems, they're finally facing them. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply letting people face the natural consequences of their actions. And the letter from Sabine? Maybe it'll stay unopened. Thank you for watching the video, like it if you watched the video to the end and don't forget to subscribe. Have a nice day.